Ready.
Laptop. Is that all done?
Yeah.
Sorry, my timing was super bad then. Right then, welcome back once more to the Cold Mountain. It's been a little while. I think as we've got a shorter session today, I won't spend too long blabbling about what happened last time. But hopefully you remember that Gray has decided to champion Bungo in his challenge against the Vox Platina Archelon Harker. Lots of other things have happened, and information has been given to certain people, and I'd like to remind you that you had spoken with Archelon Kira before, and haven't seen her for a little while. But at the end of the session, we got to a point where you were being invited into the study of the other member of the Vox Platinate, which is Voxite Platina Archelon Jinok. So, without further ado, take us straight over there.
What the fuck is that grey token?
That's Gray's. That's Gray's new art.
Oh my god. Is it official art?
Yeah, man.
That's what I've been told. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Where's my
Oh.
thing got?
Who drew that?
Georgie.
Oh, it's awesome.
Well, where's the full version? I want to see it.
You'll have to wait.
Ugh, rude.
I'm shouting at Georgie to hand all the doodles over. I'm so
I was
curious.
going to say, Tom's been.
I'm just like,
nagging.
give them to me.
They are amazing.
So, as you are beckoned inside, a lot of you are welcomed into a study. The walls are lined with books, many shelves. They do look dusty, though you can see in many places the dust is gone. It's clear that though these books have been here for a long time, they are still frequently used. Different books seem to be dustier than others, but should you be interested in that, you can always go and have a closer look. But sitting at the desk is another White Dragonborn, to nobody's surprise. Looks a bit older in their figure and their posture, a little bit crooked back, but a very thoughtful expression on her face. Long strands, scaled strands tied back behind her head, and a pair of spectacles resting neatly on her nose. She watches as you enter, as her attention turned to you. Whereas in many places in the monastery you have, it's not even really sensing it, it's so obvious, but you've seen looks of suspicion, sometimes disdain from other members of the clan looking at you as outsiders. Archelon Jinok looks at you with a curiosity and an intelligence behind her eyes. And as you all arrive, she begins the conversation, addressing no one in particular, but says, it is good to finally meet those who I've recently heard so much about.
If no one else spoke up, then Bungo would sort of do a little kind of bow and say much the same. He'd sort of say, a pleasure to meet you as well. We have heard good things.
My name is Archelon Jinok. My title is Voxite Platina, but you needn't say it, though I'd appreciate if the Archelon could remain. You must be Bungo Goodbarrel, and this your lovely wife, Atala Goodbarrel. This
Yeah,
is
Nuts.
this is Grey, Blam Wolfhorn, of course, the young Sandrel Quinzel, and she crooks a smile at Aethelbert, and Aethelbert. Good to see you inside the walls for once. But please, though I apologize. There isn't really much seating. If you wish to perch on a pile of books, I am not precious about them. Please make yourselves comfortable. We have much to discuss. There has been quite the commotion, as I'm sure you know by now, in response to your deeds. You've had an interesting interaction with my partner in the Vox Platinate. She looks at you, Bungo.
Yeah, Bungo just sort of nods. He's not shying away from it. He knows fully well what he's done.
Yeah, you can see she takes that in. There's kind of a nod of understanding there. Before I pry, I wondered if you had questions, burning questions of your own that I might answer.
Oh, fuck. That's what I was meant to be doing.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. So feel free to take a moment to think or discuss amongst yourselves.
Bungo
What?
Bungo wants to ask more about. I mean, I'm just going to sort of like phrase this as sort of more general questions because it's been a while and it seems like quite an important situation, and I don't want to fuck shit up by role playing it badly. So Bungo wants to know more about the situation. Obviously, we know Kadra was locked away for basically, for trying to sort of rally the troops essentially to go save Jorek. Bungo wants to know like why are they so reluctant to go help Jorek? I don't know if that's been answered before, but I'm curious.
I don't think it has been addressed directly, and she would nod at that and say, the imprisonment of High Marshal Archelon Kadra is a very sad state of affairs. To answer your question, there is a great degree of insular thinking and inward looking with my people. I love them dearly and would do anything to save anyone of the clan, but perhaps it is our location, the walls around us, or the stories we tell ourselves, but it is easy for us to fall into thinking where the safety of the clan as a whole is above everything else, including the individual needs of any one member of the clan. She kind of holds up a hand and says, I know that might sound at odds to itself. Archelon Jorek is a member of the clan, but anything that would potentially diminish the safety of the many is weighed much heavier than the safety of an individual.
What if I were to tell you that, again, role-playing, blah, 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 but Bungo wants to essentially communicate about the situation with Bahamut being asleep. And I think Bungo, exposition dump, would go on, and I think I will do an insight check first to see, like, how much Bungo feels that he can trust this person. Not great. 12.
Yeah, she's difficult to read. I will say that Bungo hasn't exposited yet. The read you've got on her so far is she seems very clear, very straight, quite welcoming, but not overly warm. I think probably Bungo would have picked up on the fact that she said that the situation with Kadra was a sad one.
Yeah.
Probably bodes quite well.
And we've heard good things about her, so I think based on that, Bungo would certainly... I don't think he wants to hide anything. It's Bungo. He's going to be straight up front with her, tell the truth. And
if you weren't going to, Grey was.
well, there you go then.
So when Bungo asks, could I also do an insight to see how she reacts?
Absolutely, yeah. What, Bungo sharing, or Bungo asking the previous question?
Asking the question of Bahamut.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Um,
that one.
That's fine. Did you roll?
Nothing great.
Okay. So Bungo blip, word vomits, and you see there is expression on her face. Her eyes kind of widen, particularly as the idea of Bahamut sleeping is mentioned. This is where it gets kind of complex, and our memories are tested. Bungo knows that Bahamut seems to be asleep.
Yeah.
He knows that from
I think Atala's...
Atala?
Atala's... Well, he had the... It's not just Atala. He had the... Last session, he had the thing where he tried to tap into Bahamut when he was confronted with Arkalon Harker.
Oh, wait.
And he saw for himself when he tried to communicate with Bahamut that Bahamut was asleep.
Ah,
Evil
cool.
boy.
Cool. Yeah, she would be quite alarmed at that. And she'd speak to you directly, Bungo, and say, I know you are a devoted man of faith. I've studied Lyra a little myself and know her to be one to connect directly with her disciples. Asleep. This would explain why my own connection with the Platinum Dragon has felt faint as of late.
I think Bungo would go on to explain that we've encountered the entity known as Dendar. Because we know, I can't remember exactly how we don't and do know, but
We know because Ethelbert rolled a good roll, and he recognised it.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
he would go on to explain the situation where what we think has happened, and he would be quite frank as well. Like the fact that she showed interest in Lyra, he would see that as a more reason to trust this person. And he would say, he basically would say, look, this has happened to Lyra as well, and we think Bungo's very much in the mind, and he wants to explain this in the best way Bungo can. He's very much of the mind that this is all connected. He doesn't believe in, like, Bungo is far beyond believing in luck and chance. He believes fate is brought all of this together, and he thinks it's all tied together.
Yeah. She would actually turn to Sandral, if Kieran's there, and say, young lady, would you mind helping an old woman out and point out some books for you to fetch down from the bookshelf?
Sure. She'd do it.
Yeah. So you collect the books and bring them to her, and you can see these books are heavy tomes.
She just like dumps them on the table.
Yeah. She smiles at you. Thank you. Opens one of them up and begins to read. And she says, yes, the name Dendar did strike a chord. The Night Serpent, consumer of dreams, ancient entity. This is very troubling. Up here on the mountain, it is so often that Bahamut is the ultimate in authority, but an entity such as this, I can imagine how it might have caused him to weaken, be asleep, as you said. And your understanding of this entity or connection to it, it is... She sort of looks at Atala. It is familiar? Has it spoken with you?
Yeah, pretty much the expedition dump again, but she will say that I have had some communication with it. It spoke to me through this object, and she just described it because I can't remember. It was just a cube with and I was also wondering if we don't know that much about it really. I was hoping you would know more.
I haven't heard of this object, but the idea of powerful entities taking a portion of their power or using a vessel, either material or a person, to communicate with others is a common theme amongst gods and creatures of this ilk. Where is... And oh no, you exposition dumped. It is worrying that that's with the people you described. But not to worry about anything. That's not in our hands right now. I see. Well, one thing at a time. You have been incredibly forthcoming and trusting in sharing this information with me, so I think perhaps we shall do the same. She kind of looks quite seriously towards you all. I'm very unhappy with the High Marshal's imprisonment. I consider Arklon Harker to have preyed on the frailty of my people in bringing forth the accusations against her. I do not know if there is much we can do to free her from her bonds, but I can certainly aid you in communicating with her at the very least, should you wish to do so. I believe that my people's obsession with the white dragons of the local area has put a poison in the heart of my beloved clan, and I wish to excise it. I don't know if you realized, but when she looks at you, Bungo, your communication with Arklon Harker put Arklon Kira in great danger. She kind of holds up her hand though and says, "You don't need to worry for now. As soon as I had people loyal to me help her out of the city. She's currently a little ways down the mountain, somewhere safe." She turns towards you, Grey. I must make clear to you how much danger you are in fighting Arklon Tarak. He is, and believe me, I have heard of your exploits before, the arrows. It is a wonderful story and one I've considered putting into a book myself. But I think he is more than you can handle.
I don't doubt that. I think you're completely right in your evaluation of the situation.
Me too.
But I feel like there was no other choice. Just do me a favor, whichever way it goes, don't be putting it down in any book.
I can do that, but I don't think you need... the way of things is very set here. Neither Tarak nor Harker would go against it. As such, if... I hope you won't be, but if you are bested by him, your fate will be given to the crowd, which is everyone here at the clan. I expect most, if not all, to show up for such an unusual challenge.
Do we count in the crowd?
You do, actually. That is part of the tradition.
What is it based on? Like noise? Or
It will be judged by myself and by Arklon Harker, and it is a symbol that you make with your hands. I'm sure you're familiar with the symbol of the mountain by now?
Yeah, she did back.
Very good. If you hold it above your head, clearly above your head, she kind of creaks her old bones up, then it symbolizes that you want the loser of the fight to be spared and walk free. held close to your chest is you wish the decision to be given over to the Vox Platinate, myself, Arklon Harker, and lower down, kind of by your waist, means you wish for the loser of the fight to be killed.
What would you decide now if you had to, and what do you think the other Vox Platinate would decide?
I do not think Arklon Harker will want to show any mercy. His authority has been challenged, and his authority is perhaps the dearest thing to him. He is a true believer, but as I'm sure you know, and she nods to Bungo, deities can be interpreted in many different ways, and his belief in Bahamut is towards the harsher ideals of swift justice and duty. He is someone who I would consider a follower of Lendis more than Bahamut himself. I think currently the people are likely to vote in such an unusual situation for the Vox Platinate to decide. I will vote for sparing, of course. When the Vox Platinate are not in accord, the casting vote are then given to the highest positions in both the Warsworn and the Worshipsworn. Now, unfortunately, with Kira outside the city and the High Marshal locked up, the highest authority in the Warsworn is Arklon Tarak himself. I'm sure you can think as to what his vote was likely to be. As for the Worshipsworn, it will be the Council of the Adepts. They don't take a singular figure of authority. But I can tell you freely now they are likely to follow Arklon Harker's lead. He is considered the more devout of the Vox Platinates, whilst some of my people approve of my gestures around herself, my own interests and skills. Many prefer Harker's direct, fervent religion.
So you're not as fond of the white dragons as the rest of your brethren and sistren?
Not at all. I believe it is an understandable reaction to the climate around us and the tales of our history that I kind of doubt the veracity of. But it has turned into so much more than an appreciation of power and supposed acts. It has turned into, as I said, an obsession. I see toys sold in the marketplace of the white dragons around. And these aren't toys where parents will make scary noises and warn their children away from such powerful and dangerous predators. These are toys that are venerated and worshipped as heroes and legends to be celebrated. It is not right. White dragons, whilst undeniably powerful and I suppose somewhat majestic in some ways, it does not take much research to see any notes or learning about them says that they are bestial, savage predators that are cruel and will revel in their power over others. That is not something that aligns with my beliefs, my faith. I do not believe it aligns even with Lendis, the harshest of our three gods.
Sounds like you have a lot in common with Arklon Kira.
I value Arklon Kira very highly. It is not Yes, Wing Captain Archelon Kira.
Oh, no, it's a
Um,
blink.
Oh, yes. I believe we can talk freely here. Archelon Kira is a rarity amongst the Warsworn.
Would you entertain me for a moment? My thoughts. Would you say that should Archelon Cadra, they forgot the fucking title now.
Hi, Marshal.
High Marshal, were she to be freed and be able to walk freely throughout the monastery, would her word hold greater sway over your people than either yours or Archelon Harker's?
It would with some people, certainly. She has a loyal following. You've heard, if certainly from me, but also from others of the Warsworn and the Worship Swan here, there are other factions within the two broad strokes by which we divide our clan. Within the Warsworn, there is a core of loyal followers of the High Marshal who are very unhappy with what has been done, but unwilling at the moment to speak up or do anything about it, as I'm sure you've come to appreciate. Things are handled very directly and harshly here. And people rightly fear for their lives. If she were freed, to answer your question directly, as things stand now, if she were to be freed in this moment, I believe the majority of the clan would be against us.
What if we were to free her and sneak her out?
Not
Wow.
that we would.
Not that we would. But I'm speaking freely. I am speaking my mind.
I appreciate the trust you place, and it is returned. I think perhaps the first point I need to make there is that, well, I shall ask you, have you had a chance to speak with the High Marshal before? Personally?
Once.
Once. And your impression of her was? She kind of smiles as she asks this.
Honourable yet brazen.
Yes, I would agree fully. My point being, should she be freed, and it's not an easy task, I'm not convinced she will want to follow you. I know her overriding quest is to find her brother. And I speak only in guesswork. Do not know her mind. But she may have something she wishes to say to Archelon Harker herself.
With the drawn...
And don't forget, she did not believe herself capable of reaching her brother alone. She wanted to take many Warsworn with her, so she may wish to do the same now.
Bungo's nodding. Right. What's everything she's saying. Bungo would say, my intention in confronting Archelon Harker was one I am guilty of throughout much of my life. One of acting on emotion and not thinking through things, and then seeing the consequences come before me. And he kind of looks to Blam and Grey in particular.
A a noted trait amongst those who follow the Lady of Joy.
But it has always served me in a way. Follow my heart, wear my heart on my sleeve. I do not. I worry if I truly put this to thought and think through my actions and the questions I am asking and the thoughts I am sharing, not with you but with everyone in this room. And he kind of looks around and he says, "If we were to." My intention was to initially communicate with Arkelon Haraka and hopefully make him see the error of his ways, but I did underestimated his devotion to his particular view of Bahamut and the situation that has happened. I'm clearly, my study of Bahamut is limited, and Lendis as well. However, I do not wish to start a civil war amongst your people by attempting to free Arkelon Caedra. However, I am very much in share of her view that we will need the help of her and her Warsworn if we are to help Jorek. I am truly of a belief that everything that has happened in regards to what I have described to you today is all tied together in fate, and I am going to propose that if we are to draw the eyes and the spectacle of a fight that of such unusual prowess, that perhaps we could use the opportunity to see the High Marshal freed.
He smiles.
Okay.
An interesting prospect, and quite wily, Mr. Goodbarrel. I can't help but wonder, though, with your, if the stories are to be believed, stealthiest individual stuck in the ring, what would be the plan for the rest of you?
When you can't use stealth, then he looks to Blam and just says, "You breach, breach, breach."
I have a question.
Please.
What would your clan think about the news of Bahamut being under the sleeping influence of Dendar?
There would be widespread and immediate panic.
She looks at Bungo.
It's certainly an option I hadn't considered.
Maybe, I was considering perhaps if we were to let your clan know, perhaps maybe leaving out the Dendar part and say Bahamut sleeps because he's lost faith with your clan because of their beliefs currently.
Another interesting idea. Forgive me if this is too forward, but I have seen your eyes straying across the many books here. If there's any you wish to peruse or borrow, you are very welcome to do so.
If I had a lifetime, I'd look through them all. But
I appreciate an academic mind.
But I would be particularly interested in the ones with Dendar for now.
Of course, and she kind of pushes the little pile of books that Sandral dropped on the desk along slightly away from her, so you have easy access. That is an interesting idea and a powerful one to use. I have some reservations. One, that I do wish to avoid distress in my clan as much as possible, though I am ready to accept some necessary evils if needs be. My second reservation is perhaps the one that might worry you more. Myself, and to a greater extent, the Vox Platina, Arkelon Harka, are seen as direct conduits to Bahamut himself. If a claim is made about the state of the Platinum Dragon, the crowd will look immediately to Archelon Harker for confirmation.
And he won't be able to offer them anything. I don't believe he's the one that saw him sleeping. Right, Bongo?
I think what she's trying to say, dear, is I'm not convinced Archelon Harker, even if he knows Bahamut is sleeping, that he would share it with the people.
He nods.
But then would it not put you in better light by knowing the truth?
Potentially. The problem would then be my word against, or I suppose our word against his, and without proof to work with, if we had perhaps this cube you spoke of with the symbol of Bahamut on it, that would have gone a great way towards helping us there. But
furthermore, if I believe, as a man of faith, those who are faithful to such with such devotion, if yourself, and he nods towards Archelon Genok, and if Harker claims he is still in communion with Bahamut and you are not, then I would worry what that might do for your people's trust in you.
I do not think I can challenge him directly, as I'm sure you've heard, his voice rings loud and powerful across the entire monastery when he wants to. I have always been more a thinker and the researcher.
If we were to free Archelon Kadra, would you give me your word you would stand by her and support her in whatever action she chooses to take?
Absolutely. I will be doing everything I can to diminish the suffering of my people, but if... Yes. She kind of clenches her fist. You can see a bit of fire in her eyes. There comes a point when you have to stand up, be counted against the evils you see in the world. Yes. But I must reiterate, I do not believe I carry the majority of my people with me.
I believe if we have you and Kadra on our sides, then perhaps we can swing the general
It is
vote.
possible.
It is. I do not see another option. I perhaps foolishly believed that I could swing the people's opinion with my voice alone, but I am starting to realize that that was a foolish notion. Your people's faith is deep and runs true.
We are, I think perhaps we need to be experienced to be fully understood. And perhaps your actions, though, I agree, perhaps misguided. They have forced things into motion that we can yet turn, hopefully, to our benefit, and the benefit of all. There is one last thing that perhaps may present you with another option. I have been suspicious over the last year, maybe two, of certain individuals within the Worship Sworn. As I always do, I turned to my books and found that seemingly with regularity, periods spanning generations, certain elements of the Worship Sworn turn to a more militaristic mindset. It is born out of a wish to prove themselves in front of the draconic deities, a resentment of the Warsworn holding the military power in the clan. But it is a recurring thing, and I believe there currently are perhaps 10 or 20 individuals within the Worship Sworn that have been training themselves to rival the strongest amongst the War Sworn in terms of military and a warrior's abilities. I have heard whispers from those I consider close friends and loyal followers of Bahamut of hooded figures moving amongst the monastery at night, taking certain individuals away who are not found afterwards. People who might have voiced opposition to the more fervent elements, the more passionate elements of the Worship Sworn. I believe that should we form an opposition to Archon Harker, or simply a statement of intent behind the High Marshal, these people are likely to be powerful opposition to us and will rally people against us. If there is anything you could do to root them out or expose them for what they are, they will be disavowed by the majority of the Worship Sworn and exiled, inevitably, or even killed by the clan. To operate outside of the tradition of the War and Worship Sworn in our practices is, she kind of shakes her head gravely, is one of the greatest heresies.
If we were to find out these people, who they were, use those people as ammunition. If we were to tell her, this lady here, that she could give all of this information, plus the sleeping Bahamut, like, we have disgraced Bahamut, like, all these people are going missing, and, this is why Bahamut's abandoned us and whatnot. That would rally people, right? Be like, under this rule, this rule of this guy.
That combined could potentially be enough for me to don't like to use the word spin, but to turn to our benefit, yes. I do not know if Archelon Harker is involved with this group. They are called the Kerchist. It is an old draconic term. It means blade of the faithful, roughly.
How would we even go about proving this? I assume the Skachist are likely to cover their tracks if it's such a great crime.
What I will say about my people is that whilst as you mentioned, our faith is undoubtable, powerful, we are not often the most subtle in our ways, even those of us who attempt to be so. Certain elements of the Arrow's story, your good friend and my clan brother, Archelon Joric, perhaps demonstrated that quite well on his journey. So I think, even with great efforts put to remaining hidden, I think the sharp-eyed looks to you and to Grey, and the experienced in infiltration and rooting out criminal elements amongst you might be able to find them. I know they have the rumors have emanated from, in particular, amongst the dwellings of the Worship Sworn on either side of the monastery itself. So perhaps we could search there. You could potentially, forgive me, young madam, she looks to you again, Sandral. I have heard of your burgeoning faith you as an outsider claiming connection with the Platinum Dragon will be seen as a affront by the more hard line of the Worship Swan. And I would certainly count the Kerchist amongst them.
I kind of gathered that.
Yes. So
He's racist.
there.
It's more not understanding a culture you haven't lived in.
Yeah. It might be the case that they would be particularly keen to make you disappear if you were seen as an easy target, perhaps alone.
Oh, maybe I could do something to annoy them and they'll come get me, like climb up that big tower.
That would be seen as a direct affront to the Worship Swan's authority.
Wasn't there something we were meant to get up there anyway? That old guy said about it.
Yep. The Archie asked you to check in to see if you could find his sister, Archelon Trika, if she was okay. And as a reward, whether you find her or not, or check in with her or not, there is a bundle of his goods, which he reassured you had interesting items even for powerful people like yourself.
Fuck, I completely forgot about that.
Up the top of the tower, yeah, hidden on the beams.
Well, maybe I could do that, and then Gray could follow me and then warn the rest of you if he sees anything suspicious as I do it.
Yeah.
Would it be... No, never mind.
I mean, if this is the idea we're going for.
It is not technically an affront to do this, so you would be harshly reprimanded, but not in danger of being challenged or imprisoned, exiled.
What if she were to, in front of, use the climbing of the tower and pronounce herself as a worshipper of Bahamut? Do you think that would attract?
I wouldn't really want to do that, Bunga.
No, I'm just saying, if we're going to use you as bait, I'm not particularly fond of the idea, but if we are, then...
It would have to be done delicately, I think. Anything too crass or obvious, I think, would be seen as an affront, probably. I think wearing your pendant openly, perhaps availing yourself of the things that are seen by the hardliners as things that should be reserved for adepts or acolytes of the monastery themselves. Things like worshipping at the main altars in the monastery itself, making yourself visible. I wouldn't try to enter the crypts. That would be too far. Just climbing the tower, I think, yes, would certainly get their attention.
So the plan is to split the party.
Yeah.
Nah, we'll be watching.
Well, the day wears on. You have perhaps only an hour or so until you are called to the realm of respect, sir. Maybe 2 hours, but dusk does draw near. If there is anything else you would wish of me, I shall have agents watching you, but again, mine are the minority. We cannot openly oppose yet the other factions in the city.
Right, hold on. Let's just clarify the plan.
Bunga also would want to ask, because I also want to get into plan making time. But Bunga would also want to ask, like, if they were to seriously consider breaking Kaja out whilst Grey is fighting this fuckhead, how, like, is this time, like, how would this, like, would this be possible? Would this even would she be able to help in even like giving us a key to a back door sort of thing?
She would tell you that there is no back door.
Yeah.
She would take a piece of parchment and sketch. I don't have a handout ready, but I can essentially make this really simple for you guys right now. Let's just draw it here. She would describe to you, because she has been there herself, the Eye of Lendis. She would say the single access point is, and seeing as she knows what happened with you, Bungo, she knows you've seen it. The stairs on the ground floor that go down at the base of the tower. So you need to go there and work your way down.
Was that on the inside?
It was the inside of the tower, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I remember.
Which, yeah, you'd need to get into the tower. Once you go down, there's a spiral staircase heading down. Take you a couple of minutes to head down. It's a fair way. Well, once you've done that, you'd arrive at a circular corridor running around the Eye of Lendis, and there are 4 doors. They are just openings. There aren't doors you need to open, so 4 portals to step through, I suppose. And you would find, this is where wonderful drawing. So if you imagine there's a thin area that goes around the edges of this room that you can walk. There is, draw a circle, please. Okay. The platform on which Kadra is imprisoned is in the middle, made purely of ice. And then there are walkways, thin walkways. That's really bad. Stop that.
I think I get the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going to the center.
The whole cage.
So, would she know if there's any like traps and stuff?
Yeah, she would say there are the prison itself is the only trap there. There is a wall of ice around an inner, which is the actual Eye of Lendis, which is what what Kadra is inside.
Yeah.
So you've got K for Kadra. She's in there, entombed, in everlasting ice, and then the well, it's a cube. It's not a square because it covers above. The cube of transparent ice around it is enchanted through divine magics. Mission Impossible. Very difficult to break. She doesn't know that any physical force will break it. When people are entombed within it, it takes days of meditation and divine magics to open essentially a portal through the outer square or cube of ice to then be allowed inside. And then the individual is entombed within this sphere.
Can you see through the ice to where Kadra is?
You can see through the ice to where Kadra is, yes.
So I'm just going to talk openly about my stupid plan.
The last thing she'd say is, because of the formidable nature of the prison itself, it's very lightly guarded. There is literally one guard, always on watch.
It's like that place in Star Wars.
Who sits at a table, kind of there-ish, but who does have a direct link, essentially a sending stone, to both herself, and she'd hold up one, and to Arklon Harko.
So my idea is that Atala has this pretty fucking OP invisibility thing, right?
Yeah.
She has this great invisibility for only for 1 minute, but it
Mhm.
can make her disappear from like people even remembering she exists, right?
What?
Yeah.
Because of
Oh,
PJ's
very
magic
cool.
yarn. She's
Oh, yeah.
she's also got Dimension Door,
I do.
although you only got 2 spell slots, which sucks. We need Nigel to give spell slots here.
Yeah.
My plan would be basically me and Gray. I think Bungo has to be there with Gray, not only to try and revive him if shit goes hella wrong, but also I think just because I'm the one who made the challenge, it doesn't make sense if I'm not there.
Mm-hmm.
My thinking is the rest of the gang go and try and break Cager out and then bring her before the crowd, hopefully in time.
So this is definitely the breach method. What other methods do we have?
I just don't. I'm just thinking if Gray's in a really shit situation here, even if Gray wins, like what, like I don't know.
If we can turn the crowd against the fucking
I'm
guy
not.
that
I'm
you're
not
talking
convinced
to.
we can anymore.
Wait, Sandrell would like to ask the lady.
Yep.
Wait, how, what do they do with the bodies when people have been killed?
That's so slow.
If they're voted to be executed, their bodies are taken to Justice Peak, where they are usually collected by white dragons.
Is there any way that we could collect the body
You
if
would
the worst
not-
were to happen?
You would have to intercept them heading up to Justice Peak, or stop them being taken. But it is part of the tradition. You would not be allowed to take the body of your friend.
How long does Bungo's revive-y thing last?
Well, I can do Raise Dead, which I can cast if I have a spell slot, which is as long as it's been 10 days.
So we could, if Gray died, go try and find his corpse.
Yeah, that is
Shinnok is not laughing. Tom is laughing.
it's
I was
certainly
just
an
thinking,
option.
Gray
Chewed out by
dying.
dragons, yeah.
If we got the body back, we could be like, "Oh no, Gray, you're dead." Oh.
It would not be many who took the body up to Justice Peak, so it is a viable idea to consider intercepting them on the way.
Looks at Gray, and she's like, "Don't worry, Gray, got your back, and maybe the rest of you."
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about being quite that close to death again in such a short amount of time.
Yeah. It's Plan D. It's Plan D.
I didn't know when you died that all your items you aren't attuned to them.
I
That's
saw
fine.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
I saw
I like
so-
that.
Well, again, I'm talking out of character to discuss plan. Do
Yeah, it's
people
fine.
think this is even like I'm proposing a really potentially
Well,
like TPK-ish idea, but
we
I
don't know how to get her out of the ice. We could just be solid there, stuck there. What are you gonna do?
I think we should just head to the mountain.
if you can see through. I mean,
Fuck all this shit.
that was another thing I was going to suggest, but I don't think we can do it. I am like, I'm not convinced we're strong enough.
When you revive people, does it have to be touching?
Let me check. Ray's dead. I'm pretty
What
sure.
would happen if Cager died?
It is.
If Kaedra were to perish while still imprisoned, she would be given an honoured burial and entombed within the crypt of the Eternal Sentinels.
And where is this crypt of the Eternal Sentinel?
It is just by the pool that you visited. Righteous Reflection.
What we could do is kill Kadra, get her brought there, sneak her out.
Bring it back to life.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot that bit. Yeah, that bit.
I mean, I tell you, it would be the thing is, even if we brought her back, it would be a big fucking deal because she would get -4 to all her attack rolls and saving throws and all that kind of
They
shit.
could say the dragon did it.
Yeah. I mean, my plan is the 4 of you go fucking break Kadra out whilst me and Grey distract them with a big fucking showy show. And it's probably the worst idea ever.
Yeah. So what's the other ideas?
Jinnok could also fill in some of the gaps you guys have had about the fight itself, which is that anything done before the competitor enters the arena is fine. So in terms of like blessing Grey and whatever, it's fine. But any healing or interference during the fight is
that makes
no
perfect
go.
sense.
What happens if someone gets injured before the fight?
If they can be, if it's a minor injury or if they can be healed, they can do so before the fight. If you mean to ask, what if someone is not capable of accepting the fight or fighting? There is in the tradition, the opponent must be in a worthy state. In your case, it gets a bit complex because Grey is a champion for Bungo.
Has that been official yet, though?
I think so.
Pretty sure it has.
It would go back to the original challenger, and if the challenger was unfit to fight, they would be asked whether they wish to be thrown into the ring anyway, or whether they wish to forfeit.
What would the
Alright, guys, let's go spike this guy I'm up against.
You guys persuaded Ethelbert enough that he should care about breaking Kadra out. I can't
No,
remember.
because we haven't even decided on that yet.
No.
No, I was just thinking because Natalie said about, the 4 of you go and break Kadra out, and I was
Yeah, that's a good point.
like, Ethelbert.
Completely fair consideration, yeah.
It's completely fair.
There's a lot of things going on. So to clarify again, you've got Kadra down there. The fight is this evening. You've got maybe 2 hours. Anya, could you to yourself, please, my love? Thank you.
Thought you
I kinda
needed
liked
me
it.
to talk to you again.
It worked with the fighters this evening. It sounded like a boxing match.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen.
Sunday.
Thunderdome.
So the fight is this evening. You got maybe 2 hours to do some stuff. She said in its current state, she doesn't think the people will vote kindly for Grey should he lose, which she thinks is likely.
Thank you.
There's ways to maybe sway things. She thinks if the Kerchist could be revealed, that will help a lot.
I'm gonna say now, I don't think we have time to do the Kerchist stuff. If we had longer, but Grey.
Well-
this fight's in 2 hours. I think maybe that's an option for after. But
She would also say that if you can show yourselves to be good people, people of faith, in a public manner, not in a performance-y manner, but just go and walk amongst the people. If Sandral could talk about her faith or ask honest questions, that might help to sway public opinion in Grey's favor, so that he is lit free.
The thing with exposing the thingies, though,
He could also
then
just win.
it could win. And then it would also get people on her side as well. If she was the one to reveal
Yes.
the stuff as well.
Yes.
So then we have the whole town on our side.
Yeah,
And then they might just free Kadra anyway.
Yeah.
That's my hope. Yeah. I just don't know if we got time to do it before the fight, and I'm worried about if Grey dies.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm thinking if you guys can
Yes, you
free
can
Kadra
try.
before the fight ends, if Kadra shows up halfway through the fucking fight, that's gonna stop the fight.
Yeah, but
Yeah. And they won't be on her
positive
side.
way, or
Yeah.
Yeah, if Kadra shows up, and this can all be discussed with Genok, who give you a pretty good idea. If Kadra shows up halfway through the fight, the fight has to be honoured. The fight wouldn't be stopped, but the crowd would go mental.
Yeah.
It would become an immediate challenge between different factions in the clan, and Genok would say that she thinks the majority would be against Kadra, or more accurately, for Arklon Harker still.
If that were to come out, even without knowing who the Steely Wheelers are, then she could still say she suspects it and stuff, and also
Good.
the Bahamut
Just
Don't-
as
do
a
we
kind
need-
of like to make the crowd be like kind of like you know.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't think.
do
You
we
it's-
could-
need
you
to
could-
do that though. If she's out, can't you just get her out of the city and then?
potentially.
But Kadra said she wouldn't do that. Or is
Yeah.
unlikely
Yeah, that's why we
Well,
kill her and take her
yes.
body.
Yeah, Genok said that she didn't think Kadra would. You don't know for sure until
Yeah,
you've spoken with Kadra.
Obviously, yeah, but I think
She did also say that she could speak to Kadra, right? That's what she was saying at the beginning.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
should ask her now. Hey, if we break you out, you coming or not?
Oh, she would apologize and say this isn't a direct thing. This is her going down to the Eye of Lendis and speaking with
Actually,
Kadra. The ice, the inner ice circle, has a resonant element to it that allows you to, despite the person's body being frozen and still, their mind is still active, and you can speak directly to them.
would she know how to get them out the ice? Like if we could do it ourselves?
She thinks the outer cube, she doesn't know. The only way she's seen it warped or changed is with the meditation and the continual divine magic. The inner sphere, she thinks, probably would suffer against physical force.
Hmm.
Lag.
Whether that might hurt Kadra, she doesn't know. It's never been done.
She knows about spells, right? If I was to dimension door here, what is this? Is that a space?
Yeah, inside the cube, next to the ice.
Would dimension door just work if I was just to press it against whatever she's in, the cylinder?
You wouldn't be able to touch Kadra directly.
Okay.
You
alright.
don't actually need to
No,
though. For Dimension Door, I was looking at it. You just need to be within 5 feet.
Okay. Push her
Um,
in.
But
You need to. Doesn't they need to like go through it themselves though, or something?
just says the
Let me
creature.
look.
Just
at it.
says you can bring along objects as long as their weight doesn't exceed what you can carry. You can also bring one willing creature of your size or smaller, and the creature must be within 5 feet of you when you cast the spell. Doesn't say anything about touching them.
yeah, Genok would say the 5 feet sideways won't be a problem. The 5 feet up would be a problem. Kadra is like suspended up.
Right.
in the air.
Okay.
Good job. The
Let's get some
plan
climbing.
can throw you up in the air.
Dimension door, cling onto the ice. Yeah, definitely.
Right, I mean,
Yeah.
let's just go get Grey to win. Like,
Oh man, I still think we should need to try and get the crowd on our side at some point though.
don't disagree, but I don't see how we're ever gonna expose a Kachist in 2 hours.
Depends on how ravenous they are, you know.
Neither Grey nor I think it's a good idea to attempt a crazy plan and turn the entire monastery against us.
It's a very good point.
Yeah.
What's your opinion then, Steph? What's Grey's opinion? What's your opinion?
Do the fight, win the fight. Carry on.
The fight, win the fight. Stay another night.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe that's the way to go about it. I mean, Bungo's put us in this situation. Maybe Kieran's got the right idea that we just fucking resurrect Gray's body.
Well,
Maybe.
If
Or
worse
I-
comes to worse.
I assume she doesn't need to be fed in that ice dome.
Oh, I think Natalie meant Gray's body.
Oh no, I got reminded. Does it need to be fed? Does Kadrian need to be fed in the ice dome?
Oh, I see. No, she doesn't.
Shit.
I would probably prefer, if anyone's going to do anything with my body, it would be to just give me a little bit of healing from a distance during my death saving throws, and I will play dead.
God,
Mhm.
Try it.
That's kind of a good idea.
Yeah.
And they will take me to whatever fucking mountain they want, and once they're gone,
And if
I'll try and find you.
if PJ comes through with something, then I don't have it prepared. I've got feigned death. But I have to touch.
You do also know that Justice Peak is high up. It's the peak of the mountain.
I'm used to high places.
It's like another few days worth of travel at least to get there.
Okay, so
Fucking hell, they go a few days to get rid of a body. What the fuck?
They do.
What a bunch
Suppose
of
they can just
nerds.
fly over there, can't they, I suppose?
so if Grey does lose and they choose to kill Grey,
Mhm.
what happens to
Yeah.
us? Do they just let us go? Now the challenge is
Your challenge, Bungo, is considered the losing side of the challenge.
So I would be killed as well, potentially.
No. The tradition holds, the champion holds, but you would be, whilst it is not, yeah, pretty much.
The other option is just to teleport us all the fuck out of here and go find Jurek, but
Hey,
Yeah.
I wish I just did that last time. We can always just get out of here.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Yeah, I'd ask. Already forgotten her name.
Janok.
J-Knock, that's the one. Like, if we did leave right now, are they likely to send anyone after us?
Yes, there would be. It would not be a considerable effort. It would be a patrol, an enhanced patrol, would be sent out to look to see if you were nearby. Beyond that, your names would be recorded in shame, and would not look forward to the many, many sermons Arklon Harker would hold on the frailty of outsiders and the faithless.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well,
Any of you,
Oh, sorry, go on.
I was gonna say, do any of you guys ever plan on returning here?
Maybe
Uh,
Alkalon Jorek does so.
Yeah,
Wouldn't look great on him.
that's a very good point.
Yeah.
But I'm proposing, Bungo, my plan of 4 of you break out Jurek, not Jurek, Kadra, whilst me and Grey fight. But that I'm fully going all in on this plan, even though it's potentially TPK worthy. But you guys feel free to completely outvote me and do what you want to do. But
Does Blam have any thoughts? Would Blam be thinking?
Blam thinks breaking people out of jail is cool, but not. It is a bit risky.
It's fair.
I'm aware of the risks, but we went into the deep hole and came out with Zeldern. Just saying.
Breach, breach, breach.
Yeah. I admire the plan, Bungo, but I don't think it's the smartest one.
Yeah, I'm throwing the plan. I haven't necessarily role playing it all out. I'm just throwing the plan out.
Yeah.
Bungo's passionate. This is what he thinks you should do.
Yeah, that's what Bungo thinks we should do. He might be stupid and he's fucking naive and brazen, but this is his plan and this is what he thinks.
We don't even know if she'll even come with us after, so I think we should take it more cautionary. But
So one
but,
vote-
but
what-
you guys here, you're the adventurers. I'm just
We can't
Give
just
them
keep
a-
discussing it. We need to vote on something.
I vote no. I vote Grey just wins.
Just as great.
Sandra will abstain.
So currently
I
2-1.
Yeah, heist.
Okay, 2-2. So it's down to Aethelbert.
No, she abstained. Oh wait.
I said Aethelbert.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
said Gerald. Is Anya even there?
Yeah, she is. She's holding her hand up.
Sorry, I was putting my pizza in my mouth.
Mhm.
But doesn't know who the fuck this is. Well, he does, but he doesn't know why he should care as much as you do. I really question that.
Is he abstaining, or is he voting, or is he asking more questions?
Probably just be like, why should I risk life and limb for this guy?
Sandra would also say, we also have to get out of here to help Arkelon Jorek. If we fail, then he's dead.
Like I said, Bungo's going all in on this plan. Right? Whether that's completely stupid or not is, yeah. But
It stands at 2-2 without a tiebreaker. Geonok would kind of hold hands up and be like, it is understandable that such a difficult decision would cause a split in thinking.
I think from the very nature of abstaining, it's kind of showing caution. So I feel like caution kind of wins.
Yeah. Perhaps it is best to focus merely on what you wish to do with your time before the fight.
Indeed.
So we're not breaking out Kadra. So I think the next plan is to try and pursue the Kachist option. So do we want to? We can search the dwellings, the worship sworn. We can get Grey and sneaking around.
We can
there.
go have a brief look around, but it is 2 hours away, so we should probably prepare Grey.
Yeah. Alternatively, is Sandra happy being used as bait? Is she going to climb the tower in the 2 hours?
She'll climb a tower, but she won't do the so she won't proselytize.
No.
Yeah.
But
Won't make herself vulnerable just yet.
But Jinok said that's probably good enough. So I think that would be what we need to do.
Right. So Sandra out, climbs the tower, and then we go prep Grey.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay. You leave Geonok and back out monastery. Stealth. Finding yourselves where you are, outside the monastery proper. If you did wish to have a look around the dwellings, these are the dwellings to your east and west.
Would we realistically
moment.
have time, Tom, though?
Depends
Let's have a
how
little walk
thoroughly you
around,
want to
right?
look. If you want to have a little walk around, you got time. If you want to send Grey up onto roofs to run around, you got time.
I feel that's
Depends what you want to do.
People
You have a master thief in your midst.
What
Yeah.
does Grey want to do? You're the one potentially. I'm the potential one who's killing your character here. Bungo would also make it very clear that you don't have to do this, Grey. Like he was the one who made the challenge. He's willing to step into the ring.
Yeah, and your current state, you went what, no spell slots?
Yeah, I'm hoping PJ will come through, but hey.
I stand a far better chance than you.
Yeah.
Okay. I say we go and have a little brief look around just to know where we're going, and then we climb the tower.
Yeah, that sounds fine to me.
Okay, that's fine. I'd say it'd take you maybe half an hour to do a brief look around all of it. You can have... With a brief look around, you can have 2 people roll perception checks. Or investigation checks, whichever you prefer.
I can roll a pretty stonky perception check with advantage, so I would volunteer as one of them. Plus 9 with advantage.
I mean, I can do a good investigation.
Holy shit!
Oh, damn.
The fucking baller.
Nice.
I guess I'll roll the other one.
Yeah.
Oh, it should be with advantage, so let me re-roll that.
An 11 or... 18.
18.
Interesting. Without revealing too much behind the screen, DC there was 25. So, you move around. The sun is beginning to drop low, and with being surrounded by the spine of the world mountain range, dusk comes quite early as the sun is eclipsed by the peaks themselves. You move through the west area first, knowing that your route back out of here is on the east to you. It makes more sense to go to the west first. And before long, maybe 10 minutes into your scouting, as you kind of finished doing a brief walkthrough and are coming back, Sandral, you... right in the distance, as you're turning a corner, everyone else has already gone ahead, but something slows your step. Some hunter's instinct, some absurd teaching from Elodius in your past causes you to stop and just glance back, just one last lean around the corner. And down at the end of the alleyway, you see 3 figures. One of them is struggling. 2 of them are hooded in robes, though you can see, with that natural 20, heavily armored beneath the robes. They are muscling an individual. They have a hand clamped over the mouth of the individual, muscling them into a small set of doors leading down to a basement beneath one of these houses. And you catch them stone cold in the act. You're about... it's fair way. You're about 90 feet away.
He's just gonna dash. She can be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" and dash towards them.
Okay. And the rest of you
Fucking
here,
running after
Sandral,
her.
Sandral here. Hey, what you doing? Okay. Yeah, with catching them stone dead like that, we're not going to do the...
He does have a speed of
Chase.
55.
No, yeah, 100%.
I do not have that much speed.
Yeah, honestly. You, like lightning, just speed across the ground, Sandral, and you see that, hearing you call out, one of them has continued trying to bundle the captured individual down into the basement. The other one has turned towards you and has drawn a heavy-looking mace from under their robes. What do you do? We're not rolling initiative here. Just tell me what you do.
He's gonna dodge as she's running towards them. She wants to get inside the house so she can like keep the door open.
Nice. Okay. I will roll with disadvantage.
What's Sandra's AC?
Does a 16 hit you?
It does not.
Okay.
19.
So as you're running up, you curve your movement, and as the large figure goes to swing towards you, and you can see this figure is heavily muscled, you skid between the legs, and the robes go billowing up for a second. As you go skidding through, the rest of you are rounding the corner now, and you see this person. You hear the sound of this heavy mace striking the stone floor and cracking the flagstones. Sandral, you're just heading in through the doors.
Hell yeah.
Nice. And the rest of you, what are you going to do with this individual that tried to strike Sandral?
Do we recognize the robes at all?
You would recognize the robes as being very similar to any worn by religious worship sworn here in the monastery.
Okay. Can we see anything of the figure themselves?
Do a perception check.
Yeah, I'll do one as well, actually.
Natala's pretty much trying to do the same thing, trying to get information from.
Feel free.
Can I do some kind of check to see if Ethelbert would have seen them on the mountain before?
Fucking rolling
Yes.
shit.
You can roll a
History?
history or perception, your choice, Ethelbert.
Well, perception is +4, so I'm going to do that.
Go for it.
Ever actually does it. I will tell you what it is. I got a 12.
I will say no. You haven't seen them on the mountain before. Gray and Atala.
Roll a history check instead.
No, you've done your roll. Gray and Atala, heavily muscled, bulky figure, much bulkier than you're used to seeing with Worship Sworn. Whilst all Dragonborn are possessed of, well, most Dragonborn are possessed of quite a chunky figure, it is very noticeable when they are well muscled kind of on top of that. This is someone whose robes are very large. You can hear the clanking of armor beneath, and you can see this weapon in their hand. Their features are white, scaled, don't really stand out otherwise. There's no immediate symbology or anything. Bungo, you would note that, yeah, as this figure has struck down, kind of one of the sleeves has come back as they sort of reared back to strike, and you'd notice there are signs of scarring, like what looks like ritualistic scarring on the figure's arms.
How lovely. Well,
Yeah.
well, I'm running at full pace after Sandral.
Yep, you're all running. Sandral, you get in there. The figure with the individual just shoves the individual towards you. Do you try and catch them or move out of the way?
What sort of building does this look like? Just like a...
2 stories. Looks like a residential dwelling with a basement. Wooden doors on the side. In that diagonal, kind of, I always think of it as very American basement sense.
She doesn't see any exits, right?
Down in the basement,
Well, yeah.
you can't see any. You'd think logically there's probably an entrance into the main building itself.
She'll try and dodge out of the way so she can keep after this guy she definitely saw
Cool.
drag them into the basement.
Roll a dex save for me, please.
Ooh.
That's enough. You move out the way, and the individual that was pushed, that you can now see as the meaty hand of the assailant is pulled away from the face of the individual, is a female Dragonborn, looks quite young, and again is dressed in religious robes, though much smaller than the large, muscular forms of the two that tried to grab her. She goes tumbling past you into the basement, and you hear a series of yelps as she falls down the stairs. You're just there to keep the doors open?
She was going to go after the guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the reason why I didn't roll initiative, with all of you guys here, and these two, it's pretty much up to you what's going to happen to them. They can't outrun Sandral or Grey, they can't out-muscle Blam, they can't outfight all of you together.
Are we running at full pace? What's this person in front of us trying to do?
They don't try and do a runner. They stand and fight you.
They stand and fight? In that case, I'm going to cast Command.
Okay.
And just tell them to grovel.
Let's say...
I'll tell them to flee.
Okay. First save would be a 15.
DC 18.
Second save, would be a 9. So on their turn, they attempt to flee away from you.
Yeah.
What are the rest of you doing? Are you trying to capture them, kill them, let them run away from Bungo?
Say I was tempted to tackle the guy with the big mace thing.
Hmm.
Not that I've got much behind me against this hulking figure, but yeah, I suppose I pretty much tackle him, throw myself at him while shouting, "Blam, help me!"
whilst these guys are clearly trained, muscled up, and have gained the skills of a warrior, they are not rivals to your skills as adventurers and everything that you've picked up in your experience. If you want to kill them, you can. If you want to capture them, you can. If you want to let them run away, you can.
Capture me.
Let's
I
capture
was going
them.
to say I had intention to restrain him.
You do so.
Yes, we could take them all down into the basement.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that.
Okay.
Let's reconvene with Sandra.
Yeah, you sweep them up together into the basement. Blam's easily strong enough. Get them down there. There was nobody else on the street nearby, so whilst there was a commotion of sound that people might have heard, you don't think you've been seen by anyone. And you head down into the basement. Inside, there's some wooden boxes, barrels around. Looks fairly standard. Looks like foodstuffs and perhaps some old clothing. A stone floor. There's currently no light in the basement, but I know.
Bungo cast light.
Yep, Bungo cast light, and the scene is illuminated. You see the person who had been attacked has kind of scuttled or crawled across the floor to a corner and is hugging their knees to their chest and looking with scared eyes towards the lot of you and her assailants, and then the two figures you have captured, and it's up to you whether you gank them or not.
Yeah.
I think Gray would indicate for Bungo to maybe go comfort the person, the victim.
Yeah, but Bungo would approach.
She looks scared. She doesn't make to flee any further as you approach her, Bungo, but she does look very scared, trembling.
I'm going to cast Calm Emotions.
Yeah.
DC 18. No.
She'd have to roll very high. She does not. Yeah, you see her visibly relax and her shoulders drop down. She has a slightly sort of dazed look on her face. But she looks up at you and just says, "Who are you?"
My name is Bungo Goodbarrel. We're friends of Arkalon Jorek and Arkalon Jinok and Arkalon Kira.
Those are all names I know. Why? Thank you for saving me. I do not know what I've done wrong to deserve being treated like this. She kind of looks over at the two muscled figures.
We will find out.
My name is Acolyte Arkalon Trika.
Oh. Yeah, we
Hello.
met your someone at the bottom of the mountain. You asked to see if you're alright, but you're not. But I guess you are.
She kind of, with the spell in effect, she kind of half smiles at that. You must mean Archie. Oh, that's sweet of him. I hope he's okay.
We're glad you're okay.
Thanks to you all, I owe you a great debt of gratitude, I think.
Do you know of the disappearances that have taken place recently?
I do. I was trying to... And you see a sort of a look of realization come across her face. Oh. I've been investigating. I assume that's why they wanted to grab me now, too.
It's a common worry among everyone?
Not at all. They're called rumours, and they're downplayed by many amongst my people. But a friend of mine went missing only a few weeks ago, and I know he wouldn't just disappear. They said he'd left. It's ridiculous. So I've been trying to find what happened ever since.
Okay.
Well, let's have a word with your assailants and see what we can learn. Bungo kind of nods back to Grey, like everything's okay.
If we hadn't already, Grey would have sort of kicked in the back of their legs to get them on their knees and pulled back their hoods.
Yep. You see sullen stares straight ahead, not making eye contact with you.
Names.
There's no response.
I'm guessing they both look tough.
Look in their pockets.
They're both fairly tough. Yeah, you can turn out their pockets. You don't need to roll anything.
Sandrell's gonna walk up to them and be like, "No, the last person who disagreed with my dad ended up with her head in a badger hole."
Do an intimidation check. And hold on. I can't remember what you guys said about this. Did the badger hole stuff become part of the Elodius Zarro's story or not?
Oh no.
Okay. Alright, just a straight intimidation roll then.
Bongo said about it. I like to be
No.
like, no.
Yeah, absolutely not.
That's what I thought, but if it had become famous, I was going to give you advantage, but no. Straight roll.
Infamous.
Intimidation, please.
Fuck.
Yeah. DC wasn't too high with the situation you're in. You see one of them break their stare and kind of glance up at you for a moment, Sandrell. You don't see abject fear or anything, but there is a moment where you can see their discipline kind of break, and then they go back to staring at the wall in front of them.
Bungo's going to walk up to... Oh, God. I don't know if it's too metagamey, but who's... I was going to ask who's got the higher charisma out of Grey and Sandrell, but...
Been around each other enough.
Sandrell's got 12.
Same.
Doesn't matter then.
I've got plenty.
How much has Blam got?
Not as much as Atala, I can guarantee that.
That's true, but you can use strength for intimidation, right?
Yeah, I'd allow it. With Blam, for sure.
I'm going to cast Enhance Ability on Blam. And give him bull strength, so he has advantage on strength checks, and it also is doubling his carrying capacity doubles, which I think is already doubled because of his thing. So you can basically like start picking up the house.
Very cool.
But yeah, he's just gonna sort of like he's gonna give like a knowing nod to Blam, like scare these shitheads kind of thing.
Yeah. If you want to do that, Blam, tell me what you do. And make your roll.
Oh, sick. So what's around? What can I use to intimidate them with?
You've got your weapons in the basement. There isn't much. Boxes, barrels. I guess you could smash a barrel if you like.
Yeah, can I
Mason bend it?
can I grab a couple of barrels, one in each hand, and just smash them against the wall?
Love it. Roll an intimidation check. Oh, actually, just roll a strength check with advantage. Just straight strength. And then that description has lowered the DC.
Oh!
Holy shit. Okay. So, whereas one, like, broke eye discipline for a moment with Sandrell, as Blam just steps forward without a word, picks up these two hulking barrels, which look like they'd need two people full on just to lift one of them, and just crushes them against the wall, and you see a burst From one
Oh, shit.
food. I was tempted, but no.
Oh.
From one, foodstuffs clatter out across the floor. From the other, it looks like the barrel was used to keep inkwells and things in, and surrounding the inkwells was sand. The barrel was full to the brim with sand, and the inkwells inside. So as Blam smashes this heavy barrel, there's this burst of sand out across the floor, and you see the one of them. You can see is now just looking at Blam, and his lip is starting to quiver. The other one, whose eyes discipline broke before, falls back onto the ground and is trying to like physically move himself away from Blam.
I want to point out that Blam is also technically proficient in an intimidation, so it'll be another +4 to that check if it's an intimidation.
Jesus, 28. And they both are just fucking terrified. They look absolutely terrified.
Can I eat some of the food stuff in a threatening way?
You pick up, say, some dried meat and just rip it off in your teeth as you're staring down at them. And one of them just goes like a green color, and you can see he looks quite ill with fear.
I'm just imagining Blam like going up to them, staring them directly in the eyes, and just like chewing beef jerky.
Yep. At which point, the one who isn't completely quivering and seems to have at least kept his senses slightly, would... I don't think he'd even use Archelon, he's so scared. He'd say Korkra and Korshen for their names.
Can you type that in the chat, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely.
What were you doing to... Why were you bundling her into this basement?
Without taking eyes off of Blam, chewing away on his jerky, the one continues and says... Let's see, it's so funny thinking how the fear would affect their perception of things. We were told to take her.
By who?
Make sure I get the name right. It's the name you guys haven't heard before. That's it. Yeah. They would use Archelon here. Archelon Torcain. Put it in chat as well.
Are you just two bumbling peons, or do you actually have something to do with this?
We follow the teachings of the dragons.
The platinum dragons or the white dragons?
All dragons.
Even the red dragons?
Just doesn't reply to that.
Can Bungo approach Atala and like ask her to, with her like extensive knowledge of stuff and like, and also like he knows that she's got quite an ability to read languages and stuff. Would, if she examined their tattoos, you said, or that, was it scars or tattoos? I can't remember what it was.
I think it was.
It was scars.
Yeah.
However, this is a good opportunity for me to come back to Atala going through their pockets. You would have found not too much. They are wearing heavy plate armor. They're both carrying maces. Around their neck is a pendant which has what looks like real dragon claws. And the way the pendant is worn, it looks like you put the necklace on and then you slam the dragon claws into your own chest and they stay hooked into your chest throughout the day. Because in the process of going through pockets, you're kind of like pulling sleeves back and such. You notice that they are ritually scarred heavily across their body. The only place where they're not, well, you haven't looked everywhere, but notably the face and head is clean of scars. And then...
Would Atala be able to identify if there's any scars and stuff that say Kerchist or Blade of the Faithful, anything along those kind of lines?
None of the scars seem to denote language at all. Excuse me. However, you would notice deep in the folds of their robes, seemingly on a simple leather belt, purely for the purpose of keeping this one item, there is what looks to be a knife. Looks to be more for ritual purposes than for battle purposes, and is fashioned in the shape of a dragon's claw with a curved blade.
Hmm. Did you say it's got stuff on it? Or did I miss it?
The knife, no.
No. Okay.
There is nothing on their person which has the words Kerchist or Blade of the Faithful, anything like that.
Okay.
Just twigged. When we went off to explore this
Oh,
place, did
sorry.
Arklon Killick join us at all?
Sorry, very important thing. One of them, it would be Horkra, the one talking, has a singular key on their person.
I'll take that.
Mhm. And the key is quite distinctive. It's carved to look like a blade.
Hmm.
Sorry, Steph, Keelik.
Wasn't she taking us around the place?
She was waiting outside when you went into the study, and you spent a bit of time in there, and it cut. Yeah, it seems like she left.
Okay.
I thought she said she was leaving before we went in.
She may well have done.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll say she did. Thank you for reminding me.
What was the shape of the key again, Tom?
A blade, wasn't it?
Just a blade.
Shape of the key is normal. On the metal shaft of the key, if you like, there's a carving that looks like a blade pointing towards the end of the key, like the point of the blade. It's very thin.
We should find out where that key goes to.
Can I look around the room? If there's any, like, secret, doors?
You can do an investigation check, yeah.
Sandra would just be
Holy shit.
saying dumb things like, "So, what do you think of Arklon Harkers? Did you see us in the, in the courtyard?" Just trying to get if they recognised us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, through your prodding and probing, Central, you would notice that they seem to show, well, they begin to show bits of, like, particular animosity towards you, but their eyes quickly switch back to Blam, and they kind of are shoved back in their place, so to speak. With a 23 Atala, you look around, nothing visual at all. Go around, boxes, barrels, some shelves with old scraps of cloth on. But when you do a second loop, just to be sure, you feel the faintest breath of air touch your hand as you walk along next to a wall. And you immediately hone in and realize that beneath one of these heavy boxes, you think there might be an opening of some kind.
Hiya, would you come and move this for me?
Mule.
I love it. Is Blam doing it?
Yes, he gently moves the box.
Okay.
Thank you,
Box is moved aside.
By the way, Tom, just so you know, I'm going to use a charge of the Pearl of Power to regain a third level spell slot.
Okie doke. Blam, you move the box out of the way, and beneath you see quite a thin set of descending stone stairs. Looks like it would have been barely big enough for the muscled figures to squeeze through. Descends into darkness.
Well, maybe this was where they were taking you. Sort of looks down it to everyone else.
Yeah, you see Trika looks frightened, but curious.
Maybe we should throw one of them down the stairs after they did it to you, Arklon Trika. Go on, Blam. Throw one down the stairs.
Can Bungo like shine his light to see how deep these stairs go?
Yeah, for sure. You shine a light, and you notice that the stairs don't actually go very deep. The light just cuts off very quickly from the narrowness of the stairs. Maybe 10 feet down
Okay.
before it flattens, and it looks like a passage heads off towards the east.
Bungo's going to go to Trika and just say, I think perhaps you should quickly go to Voxite Platina Archelon Jinnok. Explain you need an audience due to our recent discussion, and refer to us.
Oh, who are you asking to go?
Archelon Trika, the one who fucking they nearly captured and killed.
I was gonna say maybe we should watch over her. We could maybe send Sandrell. She's the quickest.
Yeah, I'll take her.
I mean, you don't have to take her, but
I more mean if we're planning to go down these stairs also, or deal with these fuckheads, then I don't really want this young girl getting more scarred than she already has.
no. I was going to suggest pretty much the same thing, but I was going to say, because didn't Jinok say she had agents or something? I'm guessing people she could trust. So obviously Jinok's not really fit to do anything really, but maybe her agents could watch over.
That's an idea, actually. Yeah, that's it. That's a good idea. I think Gray's got the right plan. Maybe if Sandra runs off and lets her know we need her agents, and then to meet us back here ASAP.
Yeah, pretty much.
What's the time like? How are we getting on?
Barely any more time has passed. You've been quick. You're maybe 15 minutes now into your 2 hours.
Okay.
What's Sandra doing, taking the girl to Jinnok?
I think just going to tell Jinnok we're here, and then getting her to send her agents to come collect Trika, and also maybe some of them to watch over these idiots.
Yeah, she'd go do that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's your speed? 55.
Yeah.
It's like we just left, and then fucking Sandra Columbo's it. It's like, one more thing!
You know that thing you've been trying to find for ages? We just found it.
15 minutes.
Okay.
Just opens the door and is like, natural 20, baby.
Even sales worldly.
Okay. Yeah. You speed back. Yeah, Jinnok like kind of jumps in her chair as you come in. She shuffles some papers. You tell her what's going on, I assume.
She'd greatly enhance the events in her favour.
Make a deception check. I'm making an insight
She's
check.
embellishing it. She's not...
Yeah. It's not anything bad. She's just I want to see how good a read of you she's got. Okay. Yeah, she kind of listens calmly as you embellish, and she smiles. I see. Yes, this should work. I will have some agents pick up Archelon Trika. This is not a problem. Proceed with caution. I do not know what they have.
Well, I don't feel like my friends know the meaning of the word caution, so...
It's in my character flaw section on my character sheet, Kieran.
I see. Well, it certainly has paid dividends in terms of timing. She kind of glances around the study. Well, I suppose we're into it now. Take this, and she actually removes a ring from her own finger, and you see a finely detailed, shimmering ring that is kind of confusing to the eye because it looks at one time metallic, and at other times matte finish like a stone. It's weird. It kind of shimmers between the two. She says, "This is a recognizable symbol of the Vox Platinate. If you need to use it, invoke my name and show this symbol."
Okay, that sounds good.
Well, good luck.
Bye. She moves.
Yeah, you head off and you see, as you're leaving, that Chinook is beginning to stand up, and you think she's setting about herself. And you head back to the rest of the group, who I assume waited.
Yeah.
What are you doing with the two bound figures?
So if we hadn't already removed their maces,
Oh yeah,
disposed
yeah,
of
yeah.
them.
They're helpless right now, and fucking terrified of Bloom.
So they should be.
Bungo would ask them, like, where does that lead? Like, where does the corridor lead?
Yeah.
And then point to Blam.
Torquara would respond, say, other faithful.
How many? How many?
Kind of scowls at you, but in the presence of Blam.
Bungo will also, like, cast Thaumaturgy to, like, make, like, the sound of, Blam chewing, like, meat really loudly in their ears.
Ew! Oh my god.
Yeah, he winces. And he's like, I do not know. Depends if they're waiting or if they've already gone.
How many maximum?
There are 24 faithful.
24.
I do an insight.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the population of this place again?
1,000, isn't it, or something?
Hold on.
It's
I'm rolling. Gray, you think he's telling the truth?
Can I do an insight check as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same as Gray.
Yeah. Populations, Sandral, not Sandral, Atala, is in the thousands, yeah.
Okay.
From what Jinok said, you think 24 is quite large.
Yeah. Pretty large. Is that including them guys as well? Or is that...
They would
Oh,
nod
right, in
if you asked
addition.
the question.
Okay.
Bungo would also ask them where the rest of your victims are.
So interesting. The effect of fear. Torquara would
Just here.
grimace. Torquara would grimace. And say, scattered across the mountain.
God.
Hmm.
That's fucking depressing. Once again, Tom thwarts my plan to cast Speak with Dead.
Well, if there's 24 of them down there, I don't think we got time now.
Quite. Split the pie.
Jinok never stated specifically how many agents she had, did she?
No.
She just said not many.
Mhm.
If we can just find a little bit of proof, maybe, then I'm not sure what we'd find down there, but if it's something we can consider proof, then we can use that other plan.
Is it time for a grey stealth mission that never goes wrong?
Yes.
It's up to you guys. You tell me what you want to do.
I kind of want to get this news out,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure we're in a situation of who knows what part of the leadership here you can actually trust, and whether or not any of them, the guards, may be involved with whatever shady dealings this is.
Just getting it out though will help sway the general populace, though, right? So because if they're like kidnapping people, that's pretty bad, right? So
I think either way, it's ammunition we can use during the fight. If it
Yeah.
comes to if it comes to the point where Gray's looking like he's going to lose, then it's ammunition we can use to potentially sway the crowd, like you said, Hannah.
yeah,
So I think we should pursue this quick.
yeah. Just go in there, see what's there, see if you can get some proof. Take a picture, get your camera out.
Yeah.
Do the Barradoon, Hannah, where you like
I was literally
the
thinking
minor
of that.
illusion where you make the Polaroid.
Yeah,
Maybe it
literally
takes
thinking of that.
a long time. You could have the ring that they gave Sandrell and then being like, I was late because blah, 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 blah. Then show the ring.
I don't think we want to be late to the fight, though, right?
If we can
Yeah,
help.
but that's kind of like, I'm willing to do the fight, but I was too busy investigating the crime going on in your own town.
That you guys can't even get on top.
It's not a terrible
Yeah.
idea, honestly.
Yeah, no, if we have to, if we're late, But,
Oh no, I think we send Gray now. I think Gray goes and stealths off.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. If we're late, that's what. Yeah. Go on, Grey. Invisibility. Fur. Go.
Okay.
Gray's going.
I would die in the pit or I die down here. Go on then.
Are you casting
Okay.
invisibility on him as well, Hannah? Did you say?
Yeah. Go.
Invisibility or greater invisibility?
Just the normal one, I think, for now.
Okay.
Save the big one for the old.
What's
Play the
everyone
big
else
one.
doing? Just waiting in the
Get
basement.
me.
I think
You'd be
normal.
like,
I think
what's
normal
the-
invisibility lasts longer as well, right?
The what was? Sorry, what
It
was?
does, I think. Yeah. Normal invisibility lasts an hour, right? Whereas
Yeah, greater
greater
is-
lasts 10 minutes, I think.
1 minute, I think.
Yeah, Greater doesn't
Oh, 1
last as long. Greater is 1 minute. Invisibility is an hour. So
Okay, and everyone else is waiting.
Yeah, I'm making chewing noises with.
Oh.
These guys, the guy on the floor who hasn't been talking is just like writhing around with these chewing noises in his ears. Okay.
Sandrell
Well,
kind
then-
of wants to go.
Well,
if you
I was
if you
gonna
wanna go as
say-
well, invisibility for 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say exactly that.
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
Should also give Grey the key just in case it's a good way to get in.
Yeah, we'd
Okay.
wait for Sandra to get back, I think, before sending Gray,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah. She was barely a couple of minutes. She's looking fast. Okay. Well then, to finish us off, our session off this evening, could I have both Gray and Sandrell make stealth checks with advantage for me, please?
You don't actually
would-
roll stealth with advantage because you're invisible. I learned this the other day.
Oh, really?
Oh,
It's just that it's still on the left, Kieran.
Yeah.
true. It is.
It's just rules as written. I was looking the other day. It's just that any enemies automatically fail any check to perceive you by sight.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Makes sense.
But any sound.
I'm
check-
pretty sure both these Muppets have advantage on their stealth anyway, to be
probably,
honest.
Yeah.
I think one of them's got shoes and one of them's got a cloak or something.
I don't think so. I don't think I've got
Oh my
anything.
god,
Plus
26,
11 will do it
28.
anyway. Yeah.
I got the shoes.
Oh, so yours would
There you
be
go.
advantage anyway then.
Gray would make it very clear, though, at the suggestion of Sandra joining me, that she sticks with me and doesn't run off and do anything stupid.
Well, at 28, she'd be like, hell yeah.
You can't even see me.
Well, no, and before turning invisible, he'd hold out his hand.
Oh, yeah. She'd hold his hand.
Good. There we go.
Love it. Okay. So with the in fact no. Well, actually, what's Bungo's passive perception?
29.
Yeah, so
Correct.
Bungo hears the receding footsteps of his two friends heading down the steps. The rest of you are left standing in the basement of this place in the far north of your worlds that you've experienced so far. Time ticking towards the inevitable fight, and many more mysteries to unravel, perhaps. But that's where we'll end today's session.
Ooh.